guest, UN Population Fund Assistant Country Representative, Jose Roy Ravena. He's also one of the Senate Bill's 1979 or SB 1979's proponents. Sir, magandang hapon and welcome to Storycon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, and I'm very happy that you invited me to be with you this afternoon.
Sir, we're happy to have you, especially given that this bill has become so controversial and there's a lot of information and not very accurate information floating around.
Yes.
So that's why we're hoping to get more input from you. Sir, to begin with, sir, just to give us a lay of the land, the UN Population Fund had a role in advising and drafting the bill, sir. Is that correct?
Nawala ako ulit.
Yes, and I can share with you what role we particularly played in informing the development of this important piece of legislation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
Tell us exactly where you fit in the entire scheme of things. Because, sir, I bring that up because, for example, in the statements in the video being presented by some of the critics of the bill, they zeroed in on the WHO and UNESCO. So UN agencies as being part of as being part of the controversial bill's drafting, and they've cited several specific provisions, although they were not able to cite the specific documents, but I found some of them anyway, that supposedly were contained in UN documents, and some of these do appear to be controversial, at least from their point of view.
Okay, sige. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This issue that we're discussing now is really, really critical for the country. Number one, we have, as the statistics will show, very high rates of teenage pregnancy. No?
Yes, sir.
So we see that a significant increase in births among young adolescents. No? For example, 1 in 10 births were actually from this age group. For the very young age, it really increased from 35% in 2021, that's around 2,300, that's for the 10 to 14-year-old age group, to 3,100 in 2022. HIV infection is really also a very worrying trend for the country. And among young people contributed 47% of these infections in terms of the increasing trend in the country. No? And you will be surprised, might be surprised to hear that only 1 out of 3 among youth age 15 to 24 have actually heard about the disease HIV and AIDS. No?
Sir, 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3.
Only 19% have correct comprehensive knowledge on HIV/AIDS. Would you believe that based on that last study, 52% of young people still have this misconception that they can get HIV/AIDS from eating the food of those who are also infected?
Okay.
Really alarming, no? And then also the issue of child exploitation and sexual abuse. So we have been supporting as UNFP government in terms of addressing these challenges in terms of adolescent pregnancy prevention, HIV/AIDS infection, as well as child sexual exploitation and abuse. No, we actually have in the country already a very good legislative framework or instrument through the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Law. But as we know, this legislation didn't really focus on the issue of teen pregnancy, which was declared a national social emergency in 2019. And so what we are seeing is that this piece of legislation on teen pregnancy prevention is actually a good complement to the RPRH law. No? So in that regard, the role we played was really to provide evidence of what is working and what does not work with regard to addressing issues of adolescent pregnancy, HIV/AIDS, as well as sexual exploitation and abuse. No? So we have provided this evidence, and from that evidence, we see that comprehensive sexuality education is one of several interventions in a package of interventions that is critical to really bring the correct information, knowledge, and also induce the right attitudes and behaviors for young people.
Yes, sir.
No?
Sir. Sir, if I may, sir, I think naman at least Ami and I, there's no need to convince us of the urgency of these things and the need to educate people. However, the critics of the bill have zeroed in on certain specific phrases.
In particular.
If I put it, phrases, for example, I think they object to the use of among other things, of the acronym CSE, Comprehensive Sexuality Education, based on international standards. Mukhang dun nag-freak out yung ibang grupo eh. And then they started picking on some standards abroad that would appear shocking to some Filipinos. For example, yung sinight po ni dating Chief Justice Sereno sa kanyang January 10 video, 0 to 4 years old childhood masturbation ang i-introduce na konsepto. Quite shocking nga po. But however, if you...
Nawala na naman.
I found the document din eh. If you look at the document, it's the WHO guidelines for
Okay na.
Europe by the WHO Regional Office for Europe. So, may ganun pong may ganung merong ganung dokumento, pero was it appropriate to link it to what we're going to do in the Philippines? Let me tell you that question po. When we say international standards in the bill, exactly what are we looking at and what are we not looking at?
Yeah. Well, yes. Comprehensive sexuality education is really about age-appropriate and culturally sensitive comprehensive sexuality education. No? So it's really about equipping adolescents with essential knowledge about sexual and reproductive health. So, as we go through the principles of or key principles of CSE, another element is actually also contextualization and adaptation. So, international standards are meant to be able to guide based on what is the best scientific evidence available in many other contexts. But at the end of the day, it's really the decision of the country as to how it will adapt these standards. No? So the element of contextualization is needs to really be highlighted.
Pero meron nga bang ganon? Meron nga bang ganon in international standards? Nakasama yung 0 to 4 dyan sa ganyang sexual education. Kasi sinabi ni Sani Angara today, wala naman daw sa implementation ng CSE nila na yung pinaprotesta ng mga grupo. Na reasonable naman yung protesta considering our culture, no? Pero dun sa international standards, are they actually in there? Na you will teach 0 to 4-year-old kids na about masturbation. Ano naman naintindihan ng mga bata ron? Totoo ba yan?
It's not part of the international guidance that we teach about this concepts at all. No? So, at the end of the day, as we said, even if you find this in specific guidelines or practices in other countries, what is essential is that these are considered by the country that adapts it to its local context, make it culturally sensitive.
At wala po siya dun sa Senate bill, ano? Yun ang nililinaw din ni...
Exactly.
Yun din ang nililinaw ng mga defender ng Senate bill na yan. Wala yung provision na yan.
I have read the bill and have not seen any mention of these at all.
May isa pa pong binanggit may isa pang binanggit si President Marcos, yung sinabi niyang abhorrent, woke, absurdities, no? Yung isang binanggit niya, yung children being allowed to try different sexualities. Nandun din po ba yon doon sa bill at nandun po ba yon sa international standards on CSE?
At dagdag lang po itong kay Ami.
Again, I think
dagdag lang po na tanong itong kay Ami.
Not in the guidelines as well as in terms of the bill itself. No, I think we also need to really push for, as we said in the statement that we issued as UN, no, really need to address the misinformation, and we need to be able to address this using the evidence that shows globally, that CSE does not support early sexual initiation. No? So, if I can just cite a few of the evidences that we have also provided during the crafting of the bill. No? So, there is the 2015 Global Review on CSE, which confirmed that sexuality education does not hasten sexual activity, but in fact has a positive impact on safe sexual behaviors. There were, number two, there were 41, a review of 41 randomized controlled trials in countries like the US, Nigeria, Mexico, which confirm that CSE prevents unintended adolescent pregnancies. In Kenya, there was a study involving around 12,000 students, no? 6,000 who were exposed to sexuality education and another 6,000 who did not receive sexuality education. And we were not surprised to see that those who were exposed to sexuality education had delayed sexual initiation. So these are what we need to be able to. These are the instruments that we use, no, in trying to also battle against the misinformation that we're hearing about.
Pakilala ko
Are
lang
you
po si,
saying
si
that,
Tito Ronald Llamas joining us via Zoom all the way from Santa Rosa, Laguna ba yan? Kung saan siya kasama ng mga kaparihan. Tito Ronald Llamas.
Nagdadasal, oo, nagdadasal.
I'm by myself looking at the kawalan. No?
Ba't kawalan?
I feel so woke.
Okay. Ikaw lang yun. Ikaw lang yung walk.
So awoke. No? Tatanong ko lang po, sa tingin nyo ba ay victim ng disinformation si President Bongbong Marcos? Dahil marami sa sinabi niya ay wala sa bill.
Opo, and
No,
he
di
said
ba?
he read the bill.
Oo, pero sabi niya, nabasa niya. Ano kaya yung nabasa niya from your vantage point? Nabanggit nyo kanina yung kumakalat na disinformation. Do you think ay yung ating presidente ay biktima nitong disinformation? Dahil medyo malayo dun sa bill, yung kanyang mga binanggit na abhorrent, no? From sexuality to masturbation, no, etc. What do you think?
Well, we always recognize that discussions like this, opposing viewpoints, no, open discussions, always welcome, particularly in a democracy like in our country, no. And but at the end of the day, and this is really our hope, that our policymakers will base their arguments and decisions on the best available scientific evidence. And it's normal that these exchanges of views happen, and it's part of a healthy exercise of democracy.
Pero sana yung exchange of views ay hindi based on disinformation. Dahil very concrete yung bill. There is nothing in the bill batay dun sa mga sinasabi ng mga detractors. So yes, maganda ang debate, discussion, pero sana naman ay nakabatay sa ano ba talaga yung nakasulat. Di ba? Hindi lang yung science, no?
That's true. But siguro it's also worth highlighting at this point, no, that the President Marcos himself, when he was senator and when we were in the thick of the debates for the RH bill, he actually supported it and voted for it, no? And in his current term as president, he has really emphasized the importance of leveraging the country's young population. And rightly so, in his statements, to fully realize this, addressing teen pregnancy is a critical precondition. So I think if we are able to really bank on the facts and on the best scientific evidence, we will have a very rational discussion to produce a bill that benefits young people.
Pero Sir Roy, whatever the case is, the atmosphere has already been colored by so much emotions, and I don't want to use that word muna. But let's call it so much emotions. Now that you already have 4 senators withdrawing, I'm sure you've heard about this already today, withdrawing their signatures from the committee report on SB 1979. I think that's a major thing kasi naaprubahan na, withdraw pa ang pirma sa committee report. Although they're saying na so that they can consult more stakeholders and to look at what they call objectionable provisions in the bill. Well, obviously,
Hindi naman nila binanggit kung ano yung objectionable provisions ng bill. Mas maganda sana kung binanggit nila.
Ronald, pareho ba yung committee report sa yung bill? Pareho ba yon?
I downloaded the bill.
Kasi ang kumakalat naman ngayon na I'm not sure kung ano yung committee report saka ano yung bill. Yun daw mga ino-objectionan ni President Marcos are in the committee report.
I doubt it.
Hindi
I
daw
doubt
doon
it.
sa...
Yeah, I doubt
Parang
it.
may consolidated report daw na pinakita sa kanya at nandun.
I
Yun
doubt
ang
it,
kumakalat
Ami.
naman ngayon.
I doubt it, Ami. Dahil usually committee report ay binabawasan mo yung bill imbis na tinatagtagan. No? Ibig sabihin
Oh.
yung pag
Summary,
nasa bill,
di ba?
pag nasa bill
Summary.
na 10 years and above, I doubt kung sa committee report ay babawasan yon at gagawing 4 years and below. No? So, tingin ko, a committee report ay baka nga na-dilute pa yun yung committee report. No? Mukhang iba yung nabasa ni Presidente. Oh,
Para nga daw consolidated, it's a consolidation of something. Yung iba-ibang at pinisinta sa kanya.
At,
Yun ang bine-verify namin ngayon kung totoo na yun nga ang nakita niya.
At ang binabanatan nila dahil daw yung international standards ay mas abhorrent pa doon sa bill, no? Pero wala naman ako nakita sa international standards na abhorrent. So mas mabuti, sabi nga, na mas maganda yung discussion kung malinaw na ito ay nakasalalay sa science. At saka, ano ba talaga yung nakasulat sa bill? No? Dahil yung pinag-uusapan ngayon, yung binabanat, mukhang disinformation talaga. No? Kaya talagang palabas nila sa Philippine Star yung bill at saka yung committee report. Duda ako.
Ang gulo-gulo nga. Hindi nga namin alam kung committee report o consolidated report o ano. Pero Mr. Roy, you can say definitively ngayon na wala sa bill. You know naman kung ano yung dalawang issues na binanggit ni President Marcos na woke absurdities daw. Alam niyo naman yun, So masasabi natin definitively ngayon, wala siya sa bill.
It's not in the bill, but I
Yes.
think the dialogues that the 4 senators are calling for, the 4 senators withdrew are calling for, I think
Yes.
we should support that, no? We should support
Yes.
dialogues among a broader range of stakeholders, including parents, no? And I think that's one of the key features of the bill, no? The engagement of the community and parents that we need to be able to strengthen.
Sir Roy,
So,
yes,
yeah.
sir. Sir Roy, if I may just go back to the video that was released by I think they call themselves Project Dalisay, itong grupo ni former Chief Justice Sereno. In the video that they released, they were talking about, among other things, 0 to 4 childhood masturbation, also oral and anal sex. Although they showed the text, but they did not say where they were able to derive the text from. Yung 0 to 4, I found that nga sa WHO guidelines for Europe. But the second one about the oral and anal sex, I don't know where they got that from. But I don't know if you're in the position to tell us, are these by any chance part of any guidelines of any UN bodies, either internationally or in other countries? Would you be able to tell us that, or is that already beyond the scope of your expertise?
Yes. So some of these concepts being mentioned are, yes, part of guidelines or standards, but in the context that they were produced under, no? But as far as we're concerned, it's the International Technical Guidance on CSE that we are actually, in a way, advising for member states whom we provide support to in terms of guidance.
Yeah.
And but these concepts are, again, needs to be contextualized. They are not meant to be prescribed for each country, hook, line, and sinker. No, so they need to be contextualized based on what the country believes to be culturally sensitive and relevant for their population.
The International Technical Guidance, I found that on your website. So it's available publicly. People can download that and peruse for themselves whether or not these allegations or assertions really are there. It's easy to download. You can check the pages. It's easy to read. So please
At
do
the end
it.
of the day, the country is in the driver's seat in terms of this decision. No, so our role as the United Nations is really to provide what evidence of what works and what does not work.
Nag-recommend po ba kayo at what age sex education should start? Was there any recommendation from the UN for the Philippines?
For the Philippines, it's well, in the international technical guidance, there is a range
Yes.
of recommendations across age groups, no? But we know
Yes.
the Department of Education, when it adapted the standards, they set it for the K to 12 curriculum, but in a way that's incremental, no? So concepts build upon each other based on the age and development level for that particular group, no? For kinder, you've heard this already being mentioned, no? For kinder, it's about the basic anatomy, difference between a male and female body parts. In grades 1 to 3, it's about caring for genital hygiene, for example. And these lessons, of course, become more complex. How you differentiate between the good touch and the bad touch as the students grow older.
Sir Roy, ako one more po. I think one point of debate, might be even the bigger, broader debate for some of these groups, is who gets to teach our kids sex education. Because there are some groups that believe that sex education is exclusively to be taught in the home versus being taught by somebody in a classroom. So that's probably the root of a lot of these debates, na parang who's supposed to be in charge of my kid's sexuality. How do you address that, or how should that be addressed from the UN's point of view?
Okay. There is, of course, no question that the parents and guardians take that primary responsibility. But we have to be really acknowledge the reality that based on the survey I was citing earlier, young people, as it is now in our country, no, they get most of their sources of information on sex, sexuality, etc. from social media, number one.
Yes.
Number two, from friends. And that is their choice. That is their decision. The absence of, and a far third, I think, is, and that's really just for the female population, who consult their mothers, no? So, are we willing to let social media and peers, no, be the sources of information, recognizing the risk of inaccuracy from these sources? That's why CSE is important, particularly its implementation in schools, because here we're able to really make it systematic, accurate. We're able to train systematically our educators, our teachers, so that there is a layer of protection for our young people, no? In terms of getting correct information, especially at this age where misinformation is actually becoming the trend.
Okay. Tito Ronald, ikaw, baka may katanungan ng mga pari dyan.
Mag-isa lang ako rito, ikaw talaga, Ed.
By the way,
May problema din, Ed. I'm sure na merong mga studies dito ang UN na merong households na where the children are abused by the elders. How can you discuss sex with them? In fact, kailangan malalaman ng mga batang yan kung kailan they are being subjected to sexual abuse at the home. Kasi lalo dito sa atin, it's pretty common. Ang taas-taas ng abuse dito ng children. Kaya importante yung sexual education din sa school. Now siguro, of course, the parents will have they have the responsibility to teach the children. Pero kailangan din punuan, di ba, ng ibang sectors of society. Di ba? Kailangan din niya ng school. Hindi pwedeng kayanin ng lalo sa mga ang taas-taas dito yung online sexual abuse of children. Sino yung mga perpetrator niya? Ang purveyor niya kadalasan yung mga matatanda, yung mga guardian.
Tama yun, Ami. Yung anak ko na doktora, nung nag-work, nagtrabaho siya sa hospital, significant numbers ng kanyang pinapaanak ng mga 10, 11, 12, 13 years old ay nabuntis ng kamag-anak.
Yes.
Mga sa tahanan. So,
Yes.
sa bagay, yan ay criminal cases, pero bahagi dyan ay ignorance, no? Ng mga bata. Hindi nila alam na inaabuso sila. Kaya siguro kasama yun sa education, pero basically, din yan. Kailangan parusahan. Kahit mga kamag-anak nila yung gumawa nun. No?
Kaya nga nung pandemic, ang taas-taas ng sexual, nag-spike eh.
Oo.
Yung child sex abuse during the
Yes.
pandemic. Kasi yung mga bata nandun, naka-lockdown. At walang tumutulong sa kanila na eskwela na hindi nila matakbuhan yung mga teacher, yung mga other elders, other adults for help. Di ba? At least yung mga teacher nakaka-detect yan eh. O bakit ganyan ka? Bakit ka nalulungkot? Bakit ganun? Di ba merong mga sign yung bata pag nai-stress? Sa school, nakukuha yun.
Okay. So, ako, Sir Roy,
Kaya yung mga ganyan mga problema dapat din pag-usapan din, ano?
so ako, Sir Roy, one more last question from me, sir. Okay, where do we head from here? For all intents and purposes, mukhang troubled waters ngayon itong bill na ito. You already have four senators backing out.
Mukhang naghihingalo.
Oo.
Naghihingalo.
Where do we go from here? How do we break to the impasse?
Yes. So, I think, as we said earlier, no, we need to continue providing the right information, accurate scientific evidence on what works and what does not work. At the end, we really just look forward to seeing our Filipino legislators go through these discussions armed with the right evidence and basing their arguments on this. No, at the end, as we said, the government is in the driver's seat, and its decision on how it will adapt and contextualize the CSE in the country. It will be it will be their decision to make. No, at the end of the day, what we're really saying is that this is a critical intervention that will be contributing to really harnessing the demographic dividend, this golden window of opportunity for our young people, which will be put at risk, no, if they have unwanted pregnancies, that they are infected by HIV and STI, they go through this experience of sexual exploitation and abuse.
With the kind of legislators we have, good luck sa ating lahat.
Humabol pa si Tito Ronald eh. Okay. Tito Ronald, teka. Chill ka lang dyan. O, sige.
May init ang ulo ko eh.
Okay. Oh, chill ka lang dyan. You're in the presence of priest, Tito Ronald. So, bless you.
May I just add one information?
Sige po, quickly po. Because we're about to wrap up po. Thank you
Yeah,
po.
just on that aspect of the harnessing the youth bulge of the country right now. We did a recent study, and we can share this with you, saying that and we find that for every dollar that the country will invest in terms of adolescent reproductive health, including comprehensive sexuality education, will give a return of $8 in terms of benefits for our young people, for our economy, no? So it makes good economic sense as well, no? So just, I mean, in addition to the social arguments that we have already been advancing, there is a good economic argument to this as well.
Okay, may sukli na $7. Maraming salamat, sir. Jose
Salamat po.
Roy Ravena ng UN Population
you.
Fund. Siya po ang Assistant Country Representative ng UN Population Fund. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, sir.